Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a couple of Xbox games to show you, and before the big surprise, because the big surprise are actually two PlayStation games that are exclusive in South Korea, which means obviously that you cannot get them from any other countries than South Korea because they were regional exclusives. By that I mean also that, no, I don't have two, I have three regional exclusive to show you, because I've been to Seoul in the past 2 weeks and I kind of like really hardcore research for those regional exclusive, simply because I don't know, I feel like I should collect them because eventually they're gonna get like more and more hard to find and rarer, of course, and also because the pre-2000 games, anything that is cartridges in South Korea, like exclusive on a cartridge, so for example NES, Super NES, those games are like out of price. I mean, they're all like over $500. Some are even like over $1,000, and I'm not kidding. I've seen some in some stores in Korea, like specialized stores, collectible stores, and they were like extremely expensive. So anyway, before those game discs become the same way very expensive, I thought I might just try to hunt them down. And I came across a Reddit post that was mentioning one of those games. So that's why I, anyway, started checking for those recently. Anyway, let's start with what I have for you this week. I have about like maybe 20 games, so not too many, and some are doubles, so I'll go quickly with them. So first of all, you know that I picked up a copy of Conan in the past months. I've showed you this one, I think, in the previous video. And I was a bit complaining about the spine being faded. By the way, I kind of swapped the case because I have a new one I'm going to show you. So this one is just going to go on the side. Yeah, I was kind of just, you know, like Conan looks a bit better on the front and the spine, but it's a tiny detail because the copy is complete. The disc is mint. It's just me being like super picky. And anyway, I found a copy when I went to Seoul. By the way, well, of course I put this plastic thing, but it is sealed. So I found a sealed copy and it was only like $5, or I mean with exchange rate it would even be like $4.50. It was like extremely cheap. So I just jumped on it, and of course the copy is mint because it's sealed, but also it is not sun. Oh, you can tell a bit like the difference between the sun faded spine here and the one that is like perfectly mint. So anyway, that's it's a little annoyance for me, but yeah, I went for this one. So this will just go on the side, and thankfully, you know, since it's already open, I can try it out because this one is a backward compatible title. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This one I've learned from eBay that it's supposedly like a game that people, you know, are looking for, and for the simple reason that it's not because the game is rare. It's not rare in any form or shape. I mean, it is in South Korea, but I mean the game itself isn't like a rare game. It's simply because the South Korean version of it has a set of achievements that are unique to South Korea. So if you're like an achievement hunter, you want to get the South Korean version because you can stack up the achievements. So basically you have the game, you have the North American version, then you get like to 1,000 points or so. And then you get the South Korean version and you can double that up with like 2,000 points, even though it's the same game, right? So anyway, that's the only reason why this game, if you check up on eBay, copies I think go for like maybe like opened up copies would go for maybe $70, $80, and a sealed copy I think would go up to $200, $250. And here I'm showing you not one, not two, but three copies. One was really clean, one was pretty good, and one, where is it, was actually sealed. which was a great surprise, and I got it for a decent price as well. So anyway, I jumped on it. It's not like a title that I fancy or anything, but just because of the value and everything, I thought, maybe it's gonna be like something good for like exchanges, like down the road or something. Not because I'm going crazy with that title whatsoever. Again, it's because the price was right. I picked it up, and they're kind of hard to get now because I think some South Korean sellers are getting aware that on eBay it'd go for some good money, so they're kind of asking more for it. And that leads me to one thing, by the way. When you go, okay, that's the thing in Seoul, by the way, with some of the sellers that I kind of really hate. I'm gonna bitch a little bit here, but sometimes you have like some cool sellers. You go there, you ask how much is this, they'll just look at it and they'll give you a price right away. So kind of like they know their stuff, okay? But then you have those other sellers. I'm not gonna say like they're older guys, whatever. They just happen to be older sellers, but I mean, whatever. You will ask something like this, and then they don't know, they have no idea. They just look at it, they're like, okay, why does this guy want this? And then they'll go on their computer or their phone, they'll check online, they'll check on Naver, which is kind of like the Google in South Korea. And they'll look for like 5, 7, 8, 10 minutes to find out that someone else sold this thing, let's say for 80 bucks. And then they're gonna say, oh, it's 80 bucks. So, I mean, I get it. They don't want to get ripped off or anything, but it's kind of like you own a store, you have one job, you know? Like, how come you don't know the prices of your items? And how come there's no prices on anything? You see, that's something also in South Korea with games and with a couple other things as well, especially collectible stuff. There are no fucking prices on anything. Sorry, I did the F-bomb right here. But yeah, there are no prices on anything. So you have to ask and just, you know, cross your fingers and say, oh, please give me a good price. But most of the time, yeah, they're gonna go check online, and then you know in your head, okay, that's it. He's gonna quote me, you know, 80, 40, $100, whatever. So yeah, but with this, I'm telling you, I was really happy because the guy didn't check online, and that's the only reason why I was able to get all these, not from the same seller, but all these in Seoul. Okay, next. Next, we have something that I had before. It's Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb, which is a great game. I've played that on the PS2 when it came out, and it was so cool. I really enjoyed this game. It was, you know, it was like Tomb Raider, but, you know, with Indiana Jones, because anyway, Tomb Raider is Indiana Jones, which is also Uncharted, whatever, but they all come from this movie. But I found the South Korean version. So I had this one that I ordered from a guy on eBay, I think. So to play it, because it's backward compatible, but now I have the South Korean version. But as you can see, they're pretty much the same thing, right? Minus the hologram from EA at the bottom that is not there on the American version. The quotes are the same right here, the logo of LucasArts. Everything is the same. If I look on the back, same thing here. Although you have like less description in the Korean version than you have on the North American version. But I mean, they're the same. It's just they didn't feel like putting like HD TV 480p and stuff like that. But it's the same. And here you have, yeah, the date when it was released, 2003. Which you don't have, or this information is somewhere else, maybe around here on the US release of the game. The other thing I want to point out is this little yellow, not circle, but oval right here that you also have on the front of your game. Well, as you can see, let's say I pick up BioShock, you have all the ratings, right? But these are the old ratings that you had. I think it might be until like 2005 or 6 or something like that. I can't recall exactly, but they were on all the original Xbox releases. Then they moved on to these cool looking ratings. So anyway, this is just the rating, and it kind of emulates the one that you have on the VHS, because the VHS goes with the same color scheme. So you have right here 15 years old. It's yellow, so it's for teenagers. And here I have another game, and it's a green one. Green one is for everyone. And then you'll have a red one, which is more like mature, so 18 years old and over. So it's the same thing as the VHS color scheme. So yeah, this is, anyway, just a fun thing to look up to. Okay, so this is Indiana Jones. Both copies are minty. Oh, and by the way, the funny thing, again, with the guys, the sellers checking online to give you a price. Funny thing, I came up to this seller in Yongsan. Yeah, that was in Yongsan. Came up with 4 games. He had 4 original Xbox games, including this one, in his inventory. I'm like, okay, how much? And of course, guy, whatever, doesn't know, check online, then says like $100. I'm like, whoa, $100 for like 4 games? No. Then, I'm gonna give you a discount. The guy was cool enough. He got me like a really good price for this stuff. But the funny thing is, this game and another one I'm gonna show you, he couldn't find them online. And I think that's why he dropped the price. Although generally speaking, if you cannot find it online, means it's probably rare, right? This one wasn't online for him. I mean, maybe in South Korea. No, the thing is, because no one in South Korea listed that on Naver, which is again the Google of South Korea. So if no one sold this in the past, I don't know, couple years, well, it's kind of like there's no price for it, and no one knows what to, like, how much to give for this or to quote for this. And there's no price charting in South Korea. Like, they have different prices. So let's say this game in North America is maybe $15. This game in South Korea could be like $100, I mean, or it could be like $5. Prices are really, really different. It's the same with the PAL and the NTSC, right? So South Korea have their own pricing, and yeah, you could be really surprised for like stuff that is, you think that would be very common. Anyway, like Indiana Jones. So this is a rare one. Next one, I picked this up also in Yongsan. It's nothing special. It's Apex, a racing game, which I'm not a fan of. I don't like racing games, as you know. I mean, not anymore. But this copy is sealed, and it's a store that had like a few copies of this, I think for like $2. I mean, I couldn't pass that. Come on, $2 for like an original Xbox game sealed. Fine, you know, I'll add it to the collection. So there you go, Apex. I'm gonna show you the back. So this was an Atari release. Really cool though. I mean, it's a shame I'm not into the racing games anymore, but this looked like it was a solid title back then. Maybe it wasn't, I don't know. Okay. Next we have Terminator Dawn of Fate. I think this was the other game. Oh no, that wasn't it. Yeah, this one is from the same guy. You know, I said I bought 4 games and he quoted me like $100. So this is the Korean release. You can see the rating here for teenagers. Another Atari release. It's not sealed. The copy's in really top shape and everything. Yeah, I think it came up to maybe $15. So yeah, I mean, it's a good addition for the collection, and it's another title I think I've never seen before. I might have seen one copy before, but it's, you know, like I said, in Korea you keep seeing like the same title popping up, but this one not too often, so I picked it up. Next, going with the movie franchises, we have Aliens vs. Predator Extinction. This game, first of all, has some sun fade issue on the spine, which I kind of don't like. As you know, you see the nice bright yellow, and then you go on the spine and it's like piss yellow. And also, I don't know with the reflection if you can see, but it looks like, you know, it has like some water damage on the cover at the top, like especially in the banner where it says Xbox. Which again, it's really not ideal. But of course, if you look at it from far away, it looks perfectly nice and beautiful. Again, I think this game was $15. A little bit much for that condition, but for that title itself, being again the South Korean release, which is really rare. I've never seen this one before. I thought it was a good deal. Again, if I find another copy someday cheaper around the same price, I'll pick it up if it's an upgrade. But for now, this will do because it's fairly rare. And again, because of the movie, you know, there's a new Predator movie that came out. This may go up, who knows? So I think it's like a $30, $25, $30 game. So for 15, I mean, yeah, it was a pick. Okay, again with the movie franchises, this one is a North American release. Okay, so I shouldn't show you that, by the way, but it was in Seoul, so I picked it up. It was part of the haul I got. Yeah, this game, again, the guy, same story. Yongsan, the guy didn't know the price, went to see around, asked around, check online. I don't know why, he didn't know the price, so he gave it to me for 10 bucks, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. Simply also because the manual and the disc are in top shape. So, I mean, and it's unfaded spine. So yeah, that's a grab. Okay, next, funny enough, this game was, yeah, part of the same guy. I said like 4 games, $100, blah, blah, blah. He couldn't find the price on this one. So the Indiana Jones and Blinks, of all games, Blinks, it's such a common title back in the US, I think. He couldn't find the price on this one. So it was kind of, you know, like, oh, how about 30? And like 30 for Blinks? Are you out of your mind? No, I didn't say that, but I was thinking it. But anyway, you know, the price came down and I picked it up, and I was really happy because this is backward compatible. So this is a huge addition to my collection. And I also have Blinks 2, which is also the Korean release. So now I have both of them, and I have the one that I can play and enjoy because it's backward compatible. Here you can see on the back. So this is what it looks like. Released in 2002. All right, so Blinks, the Time Sweeper. All right, this is the last original Xbox game I'm going to show you. Again, this is the last one from the same seller of 4 games. This is Buffy the Vampire Slayer Chaos Bleeds, and this is the sequel to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Both games were released in South Korea, and the thing, again, with Yongsan, if you ever shop in South Korea and you go to Yongsan for games, the only thing I can tell you is, well, the obvious, right, is shop around. Don't just go to the first shop and think, okay, well, it's all gonna be the same price, so let's get it there. No, shop around, because I've seen this one the same day, and I asked one guy, how much? He went on his computer, blah, 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 same story. 10 minutes later, oh, and he said like omanon, which is 50,000 won, which, you know, I'm gonna do like a quick conversion here. I know the exchange rate is not the same, but I always pick up like 50,000 won is about $50, although now it's more like $40. But anyway, it was like $40-50 for this. I'm like, my God, this is quite expensive. And anyway, the other seller that actually gave me a discount because I took 4 games, this one came up to about $15. So see, like, this quite a huge, you know, discrepancy between the prices there. So like I said, shop around, walk around, you know, don't be shy. If the price is not right, just say, hey, I mean, don't say bad things, but say, hey, you know, I'll walk around, I'll come back. And you might be surprised that you'll find like really good deals around sometimes. But yeah, you have to check. You definitely have to check. So this one was a really good pick at $15. And again, beautiful spine, no sun fade. Oh yeah, by the way, this is the red one, the 18 years old rating. So for adults, or yeah. Okay, now the last remaining games I have for you for Xbox are, well, actually there are 4 Xbox 360 games. So first one I have here is Dead to Rights Retribution. This is nothing special, I think. I just picked it up because I picked up another game with this, so I kind of wanted a deal. So I picked up just something that looked good. This game looks super good, super clean, and in top shape. So I picked this one up, and also I know that the first game is backward compatible. So I thought, you know, I don't have the first game, by the way, but if I get it, I'll have both, like the sequel and the original. So that's really nice. So Dead to Rights Retribution. Okay, let's move on to the next. This one is Condemned 2. I already have Condemned Origin, which is the backward compatible one. This one isn't backward compatible, but I wanted to have the original Korean release, which I have right here, as you can see. And this one was fairly cheap. I was surprised. I asked like some old dude with his shop, and he had like a bunch of Xbox 360 games on the back of his shop, and I say, hey, how much? And he's like, oh, he kind of said like he didn't have any games. I'm like, well, you have some Xbox 360 games over there. And then he said, well, come behind the counter and check. And I'm like, oh, cool, okay. And I picked a few, and he said, well, 5,001 each, which is about $4.50. So for $4.50 each, I mean, yes, I'm gonna pick them up. So I picked up a few, including this one. Okay, again from the same seller for $5, I got Dead Space 2, the Korean release. I have Dead Space 1, the Korean release, and I have Dead Space 3, which is a North American import, a US import, but I don't think, well, again, I'm not sure. Now I'm thinking, but I'm not too sure if Part 3 came out in South Korea, and that's why I picked it up. But if I do find it eventually, I'll pick it up. But this is Dead Space 2. Does have a bit of sun fade, as you can see. It's not like, but that is kind of like for me borderline for collectability. I mean, if it's like totally blue, I hate it. It's like a no. But if it's green and it's still a bit green, it's okay. I mean, for $5, I mean, I cannot be, you know, that picky. All right. Now we have the last one, and by the way, this is part of the title of this video when I said that I have like some extremely rare games that you'll probably never own. I don't want to be mean by that. I just mean it, you know, it's just a shocking title for like the clickbaits here. But the next game I have is a Korean, how should I say? It's a Korean exclusive, and as you know, the Korean exclusives for the Xbox are not too interesting, although, you know, it's cool that they're exclusive, but they have nothing like really great because they're music games, and music games are kind of, I mean, meh, right? I mean, no, you have like some great games. You have like Guitar Hero, what's the other one? I was thinking Gitaruman, but that's another one. But anyway, the music games, this is like a karaoke game. It's called Superstar, and is a Korean release, Korean exclusive. And for some time, I don't know why, I think it's because of the visual, the graphic, the nice cartoon picture on the cover. For a long time I thought this was a Japanese game, but turns out is a Korean game. And again, this one I was super lucky, super lucky, because online in South Korea, again, if you check on Naver, if you check on those websites, the price out there is nearly like $100 for this game now. But I got it for $5 because the guy didn't check, and maybe he's like, yeah, pick it up, $5, I don't care. So of course I jumped on it. Although the thing is, when I opened it up, there was no manual inside. So I was like, this sucks because this is so rare. But for $5, I mean, I picked it up anyway. But I knew one lady in Yongsan that actually had a copy of it. But look at the copy. See what I mean with the sun fade? This is horrible. It's blue now. Okay, it's not a variant. It's just sun fading. So the sun fade, as you can see, turned it blue, and turned it blue on the spine, while the back is kind of blue. So I think the back was spared with this one. So the spine was hit and the front was hit. So it's quite horrible. Even, you know, even the ratings is blue, but it should be green. So terrible copy, but the disc was clean and it had a mint manual. So I picked up the manual from this one. I put it in this one, so I have a complete copy, which is top shape. This one has a decent disc, a few scratches, nothing bad, but the sleeve is quite bad for the sun fade and it has no manual. But this one I keep it, probably for an exchange or maybe selling in the future, because it's a pricey game now and it's an exclusive. But I really went for this one to have for myself a complete copy. So there you have it, Superstar. It's a Korean exclusive and it's only for the Xbox 360. It's quite rare to find right now. Goes for about $100. Okay, now it's time for the, I would say in French, pièce de résistance, which is like what you're all waiting for, what makes my title. So the first one we have MGG, which is Manic Game Girl. So Manic Game Girl has a great history. Well, it's a PS1 game and it's the first PlayStation game made in South Korea, like a total South Korean game, because there are few games for the PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 that have like a staff which is South Korean, but the game is Japanese. I think it was the case for the King of Fighters, like King of Fighters 2002, 2003, I think the staff was Korean, but the game is Japanese. So this is not the case. This is a purely South Korean game that came out only in South Korea. So it's the first South Korean PlayStation game. So it's for PlayStation 1. But what's strange about this game is that it actually came out in the PS2 era. So it didn't even come out when the PlayStation 1 was a thing. It came out when the PlayStation 2 was a thing, so it didn't do very well. And apparently at the time, and we're talking about like 2004, 2005, 2006 perhaps, you could find copies of this for like a few dollars. But now, it went up crazy in prices. And this is, as you can see here, this is a sealed copy. And it cost me quite a lot of money, by the way. Over $100 for sure. So this is a sealed copy of Manic Game Girl. I'm so proud of this of this game. I collect only for Xbox, but it was hard to pass this one up because this is part of South Korean gaming history right there. Okay, next we have finally the hardest game I've ever found in South Korea. The rarest of the rare is called Mystic Knights, and I think you guys seen this game. There's countless videos online you can find footage of this game because it's been translated in English, like fan translation. But I think no one kind of showed you the real thing, like the real deal. This game itself, like in its physical form, so I'm glad that I'm perhaps the first to do so. at least in English. I'm sure some Korean vloggers did it before me, but I don't think anyone in English did a video about this. I'm not going to do a whole video explaining the whole thing because it's been done with some other YouTube videos, but just to show you the physical item itself is a premiere. So let's open it up. It's not sealed, don't worry. Just open up the plastic to show you what it looks like inside. Okay, so it's perfectly mint. It's so beautiful. And we have our NTSC-J online, 18 years old, Mystic Knights. There you go. On the spine, it's in Korean, of course. And one thing also I noticed when I purchased this one is this here, sample not for sale, and this makes it even more rare than it is already. Not only can you not find this game anywhere in Seoul, because I've been everywhere in Seoul, by the way. I ask everyone, every shop in every district where you have game shops, I asked, no one had this except one place, and the price was above anything I've paid before for a game, by the way. But since I knew you can find it anywhere, I'm like, well, maybe this is the last time I'll ever see that. I mean, I say that a lot with the videotapes, but I'm not as knowledgeable with the games. But I have a feeling that it's extremely hard to find now, and it will just go up in price. So I grabbed it. So a bit more information right here. You see it says horror adventure. So this is a survival horror game. That's how it's been classified, but here it says horror adventure, I guess. Yeah, survival horror, that's the same. A few screenshots. The company is called N-Log, that's N-Log Soft, so those are responsible for the making of this game. So there you have it, and let's open it up. So this is the disc. It's beautiful, beautiful. And look at this booklet. It's perfectly sharp corners, it's perfectly mint, and they have like quite a big booklet. Got some really cool artwork inside. Look at this, it's amazing. Oh, and the other thing also, they show it to you like one of the pages, so it's hard to flip around, but you have the connection, I think, with the Wi-Fi here, because this game was apparently multiplayer. I don't know if it was a Wi-Fi multiplayer, but there you have it here, some information about that with the connection with your router. So there you go, beautiful copy that I will probably never find ever again. I don't know, who knows. So I kind of bought this one for myself. Same thing with the Manic Game Girl, but again, you know, I'm human. If someone offers me a good price, I may be tempted to sell them. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep those and treasure them because they're part of Korean history, gaming history. Early 2000 games, PlayStation, the most successful console in South Korea. Maybe the Switch will beat that, I don't know. But PlayStation 2 was enormous in South. Korean gamers are after these games, which makes them like really hard to get. The Xbox stuff is, you know, it's more my thing, but I don't think South Korean gamers are after those games as much. But PlayStation ones, they're usually, even like more common games, are extremely expensive. So there you have it, guys. This was the video for today, just a bunch of games. I hope you enjoy it, not too long this time around. So, well, enjoy the rest of the week. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe, that's always the best. And I'm gonna tell you once more, have a great day, have a great weekend, and see you on the next one.